Now my camera live. Let me just check things, make sure everything is running, no issues. People can see the shows. That can. So, welcome back to the Manosphere Paradigm. This is the live stream edition. It is episode 3, and today we're going to be discussing, do men and women differ or are we the same? When it comes to the type of conversations that's being held nowadays with all the empowerment that goes on with it, we are all told we are the same, and we are told as men that we should think exactly the same as women or vice versa. And we tend to get thrown into this whole thing of just basically believing we are all the same and there shouldn't be any differences. But it is further, this is something that is as far with is further from the truth, because at the end of the day, there is differences that men have, obviously, when it comes to women. And for you, for those who's gonna pop in and tell me there's an obvious difference and it's a physical difference, I know you're gonna pop in and tell me that. But that is not what I'm referring to. I came across an article that was interesting, website. I've been going through a lot of websites, and especially website that relates to psychology, and I've been basically just learning a lot about it, and exposing myself to this information, just to understand just the psyche when it comes to men and women. We as men know there's basic traits that we have, and in the previous streams that I've covered, I spoke about, or at least I spoke with Dre the Genius. We had a discussion when it came to dating, and the way men approach things and the way women view men. Differences is something that makes us who we are. It is something, once we start looking past the difference and we lump everything in one basket and we say we are all the same. Yes, we are human, the human race. However, we differ when it comes to men and women. And in this article that I'm going to cover today, I wanted to just go through the way I believe they've basically, to a certain extent, covered the things that makes us different, the type of things that we, as men and women, I'll stress that point, that does make us, the things that do make us different, as the gender characteristics, and basically linked to a man or woman, and that the most basic and most crude way of saying it is men and masculinity, and then you have woman when it comes to femininity. So that firstly is one of the main characteristics, and sometimes some men do take on feminine characteristics, and then there's women that take on masculine characteristics that exist. And yes, it's part of a society. What I'm talking about is what is happening as to what the differences is and what the general differences is. In the article they mentioned, and I myself will give this disclaimer, I am just talking in generalizations or in general terms. I am not saying this is all women, and I'm not saying this is all men, but I'm just generalizing as to what the majority of men and how men think, the things that make us when it comes to how we were brought up, how we basically are reared, and also the internal wiring that we have. So it is something that I am passionate about, and I wanted to go back to the basics. That is what I want to do with this live stream, is going back to the basics. In the manosphere, there are so many things that's flying around, and such level advanced discussions that's being held. And a lot of people, we need to have that constant churning of educating people as what the also need to understand why we start, we exposed, and basically say, you know what, there's certain truths that we as men have to face, and that comes in relationships, it comes in business, and it comes also when it comes to us, the way we look at our bodies as men. Sometimes when you are younger, you are full of life, but as you get older, your confidence level, if you do not do the basics, understand the basics as to what attracts women to men and what attracts men to women, you're constantly going to be indoctrinated by the social engineering engine, and you're going to then start adhering to certain things, that start living at scarcity, and instead of the abundance mentality that's constantly being preached and pushed within the man. And that is not something that comes you now on this. That is what it be. No, it's about you the work and putting in the effort to be able to have the basics in place. In this live stream cut out, it is just of marketing, and I had a discussion with Dre the Genius. He's from UK, and we had an in-depth discussion when it came to how to approach dating, what they need to have in place, and where they need to certain on. Back to this, basically this re-exploring the differences between men and women. As I said earlier, we have social that type of, I would say, that we are all and human, I mentioned, but we as men and women, we differ, and there's certain characteristics that different. Now, when you are more than the other, that's up to you. What I'm talking about is basic men and women difference. We pull up it is from the Relationship Institute. It is, let me just get that. So yeah, it is the Relationship Institute. There we go. And they are basically seen no chicken what in the state, and they have this over there an article that basically discusses and go through the basics of men and women. And I believe, and not I believe, but the way I see it is that they offer counseling for men and women, couples, individuals, and therapy and so on. So they are well versed when it comes to the psychological traits and characteristics that men have, and they basically put together and have on their website. You can go check it out. I'll put the link in the description. They're out in the States, but I came across this article there, or at least this they put different and obviously doing that have a better understanding of the print that they have. Here, what was Royal Oak, Northville, Ann Harbor. Yeah, and when I checked out that, I saw Michigan is where they are based from, and probably outlying or probably got another couple of states that they cover. So you can go check them out when it comes to the footprint. But what I want to discuss was the article that they have between men and women. And I wanted to start from the beginning. Let me just see to zoom things for you guys so that there we go. I think that is much. So the different men and women. Before I start the article, let me get the housekeeping out of the way. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and notification bell so you can be informed of content as I drop it on this channel on a weekly basis. It is the Manosphere Paradigm. I have changed life this people in the and the comments. If you popped in, drop a like. We are talking about the differences between men and women. So yeah, let me get started with the article. Like I said, this is an institute. The Relationship Institute is an institute of Michigan. Got a few different office in Royal, Northville, Ann Harbor, and I came across the article. I thought it was a very well put together article and detailed the differences. So let's start. So people in a relationship often have strong expectations that their partner will be just like they are, exhibit the same attitudes, values, perceptions, and behaviors. However, we know you will not change your partner's attitudes and behaviors unless they themselves are motivated to do so. You are even less likely to change their basic gender characteristics. So it is very important to educate yourself gender difference which exists between men and women, and accept the fact that they are going away. And this way you can learn to use the differences as a way to relation rather than to damage it. So coming from a manosphere a mind, or at least from a manosphere perspective, you can use the to understand going to understand their nature, understand your own nature. This is a good the article just to equip yourself and educate yourself. If you're in a relationship, obviously it's going to help you to be able to just understand your partner a bit better, and maybe have some a bit more patience when it comes to dealing with certain things. There is patience, and then there's tolerance when it comes to putting up with crap. Those are two different things. So yeah, I'm just looking at from that perspective, and as I go further, just look at it through that lens, whether you're single or you're in a relationship, how this information will obviously benefit you and how you can apply it. So first one that all really the question. So let's at the areas of note that findings are generalizations and summaries that apply to men and women or women, but not all men or all women. So that is what I said earlier. I'm just speaking in general, and I'm basically in the conversation as to their professionals. I trust that they obviously are the professionals that have the disease and so forth, but they are looking at it from a psychological and from where they provide services such as individual therapy, couples therapy, and things like that. So they put this together of experience and just detailing the basics. So the first one is physiological differences. Girls develop right side of brain faster than boys. It leads to talking, vocabulary, pronunciation, reading earlier, and better memory. Boys, on the other hand, develop the left side girls, visual, spatial, logical skills, perceptual skills at math, problem solving, building, and figuring out puzzles. Girls more interested in toys with faces than boys are, playing with stuffed animals and dolls more. Boys drawn to blocks or anything that manipulated. Both hemispheres of the brain was callosum thick one. So the way I mean, when it comes to women, they obviously and the boys all love him and manipulate comes something that very in our for some of those between men boys so social influences and first they start with the studies of infants. Both men and women speak louder to boys than girl infants. They are softer and express more cooing with girls. Boys are really told that they are sweet, pretty little doll. Boys are told that they are pumpkinhead or hey big guy. Okay, boys handled more physically and robustly than girls. They are bounced around more, definitely. And girls are caressed and stroked more than boys. Yeah, I've got a 2-year-old niece, and when it comes to the way she's treated other than her 4-year-old brother, they are very rough. Obviously not rough, but I mean they are very direct, and they are the boy, but with the girl, a couple of smiles here and there, and twirling of the hair, and she gets what she wants, and she gets things right a bit faster in using that manipulation. But they go further. They say up to the age of 2, mothers tend to talk to and look at their daughters significantly more than they do with their sons, and make more eye contact with the daughters as well. Mothers show a wider range of emotional response to girls than boys. When girls showed anger, a mother's faces showed greater facial disapproval than when boys showed anger. May influence why girls grow up smiling more social, and better able to interpret emotions than boys. Okay? Fathers use command terms with boys more than girls, and more than mothers gave. So I mean, if you have brothers and sisters, you grew up, you know exactly what that's all about. If you were a boy, you were told in no uncertain terms, this is what you need to do, and this is how you need to do it, and this is by when it needs to get done. Girls, there's a bit more of a softer approach with them and a bit more patience when it comes to the pair from the father and the mother towards the girls. And I've seen it with my sister. I am the eldest out of three children. I am 41 now. My sister is 36, and my brother, no, I lied. My sister is 38, and my brother is 36. So when it came to how our dad approached with me and my brother, it was direct. My sister got away with a lot of things, and just because she's the girl, she could do that. And dad would always, if it comes to her washing the dishes, dad would do the dishes for her, or maybe he'd help her doing it and making the chore a bit easier. When it came to me and my brother, we had to sort it out. We needed to get it done, and that dishes needed to be in the cupboard, packed away, and the kitchen needed to be clean, or whatever the chore was that we needed to do. Me and my brother were told what to do and get it done. So they go further in developmental differences between boys and girls. Nursery rhymes, books, and cartoons perpetuate stereotypes which often promote damsel in distress, frumpy housewife, helpless senior citizens, sexy heroine, and swooning cheerleader. Girls use more terms of endearment than boys, and boys get away with more aggressive antisocial behavior in school and home than girls. Girls who act as tomboys are accepted. Boys who act like girls are severely reprimanded. Don't cry. Don't be a sissy. Girls tend to talk about other people's secrets in order to bond friendships in school, wishes, and needs. Boys talk about things and activities, what they are doing, and who is best at the activity. So that is kind of, as we've all grown up, me as a boy as well, if I hurt myself, or I mean, I can go back to the experiences. My brother was like 5 years old. I was 10 at the time. He came to me, running to me, saying one of the guys or his friends slapped him in the face. They had a fight, whatever the case may be. Now, I wasn't that brother that was going to fight your fights for you. I asked him, so he slapped you? Why did he slap you? No, because he played this weird argument. I said, since he was slapped, he came thinking out in and give the other boy a beating. I said, no, he didn't slap me. He slapped you. Why must I go over there and slap him? So it's your job. Go back there. If he slapped you, go back there and slap him again. He went in there with a flying kick, and as you can imagine, I got my butt whooped because he injured the other boy. The mom got involved, and then me, both of my brother, we got sorted out by not just by mom, but by my dad as well. So, we as boys tend to not want to fight at each other's fights. We push each other and to be tough. And so if it was the girl and my sister came to me and the same thing happened, my approach obviously would have been a bit different, in where I would have wanted to step in and fight for us. Why did you hit my sister? Because that is how we are brought up as kids. So yeah, teenage girls talk about boys, clothes, and weight. Teenage talk about mechanics and function of very, very. That's how you have the way they are obviously to and to I tend to the or that's when it comes to caregiving and those types is more engineering to stay at. And I said, go into that, not what I'm saying. I comes to isn't go in the things that we were brought in, mainly pushed as to be to masculine, for like girls to be pushed to be to act in their feminine. So they further years, the 12 and 18 years old, biggest event for girls is have a boyfriend. The boys 12 to 18, boys equally interested in the following: sex, cars, and sports. Yep, it was obviously that age 12 to 18, you constantly have a boner, and sex is of mine. When it comes to cars, or if you good in it. Speed is the type of car. It don't have how cool it look, and you know that is also going to get you if and you can reflect your friends about it. Sports, you can show up and show how good you are in a sport, and you can also get girls in there. The captain of the team, if it's a team, it's a team type sport that not anyone can get in good, you know, that so kind of like to everyone proves to everyone holds a of roles can in his team, so he the rest of and he will open the first goal, which is sixth. So yeah, that tends to kind of like how boys and girls operate at that age between 12 and 18. This carries into adulthood when women talk about relationship, people, diet, clothing, physical appearance, not sports, work, money, cars, news, politics, and the mechanics of things. Hence, again, I mean, if you look at this channel, the Manosphere Paradigm, we help me things that learned over the years, things that each other, obvious community thing for me, learn, grow, we grow together. Talking about sports, work, money, cause, these are the things that we know as men. It's not the things that make us, but we know as we work at those things when it comes to our health, when it comes pushing our body in fitness, pushing wealth, making sure that we push ourselves in our careers, and also if we do entrepreneurial things, building our businesses, we go and we start, we and we build brick by brick. And then when it comes to new politics, I mean, depending on whatever side of the aisle you want to follow. For me, I've gotten to the point where I've given up following any aisle. I am following what is the truth that is in front of me. And sometimes I've seen over the years huge inconsistencies, whether the aisle is to the right or whether that is party, that party. For me, I've started to get to this point of watching and listening to information objectively and making sure that I'm taking and getting the best information at the time and looking at it objectively to get the truth out of it and not accepting anything that's coming through on a certain narrative that's being pushed. So that is us as men. That's the way we think. We look at what's coming down the 3 5 years from now, because these are the things that I mean, the thing that comes to our health, when it comes to our money, that comes to at the future and how should sort and make you always for and would be values and self-esteem as adults. That is the one. If you're in, I'm having see one of it's in there in the chat. Let me know what you think of the stream so far. Am I talk too fast? Are you enjoying it? Is there something that you that has interested you and you might want to make a comment? Feel free. Drop in. Let me know what you think and drop a like if you don't mind. So let me continue further. Values and self-esteem. Let me go. There we go. Values and self-esteem as adults. A man sense. So they obviously start with men. A man's sense of self is defined through his ability to achieve results, through success and accomplishment, achieve goals and prove his competence and feel good about himself. I definitely agree with them there. To feel good about himself, men must achieve goals by themselves. Yeah, we always. I mean, if you are struggling, maybe you struggle in your way, you mentally you want to do certain things, and you had friends reach out and they had the means and they wanted to help you out. Maybe it's in the past. I can remember maybe I went a lot years back, and I couldn't afford a trip and with friends, and it was a trip that I planned before I got fired, or at least I got retrenched, I lost my job, and obviously my finances then had to go to the things that I needed to cover, the basic necessities, and then have enough to be able to plan and then be strategic in finding another job, in building some income, and being self-sufficient. So when the trip came up, they offered to pay for me, and I didn't feel comfortable in doing it. And the first time, you know what, they were on my case. Okay, fine, I'll definitely pay. But I feel as a guy, I felt crap going onto the trip, um, um, on a natural level, in being able to contact. They were on my case. I made sure that around I was one that pulled up and made sure to store them to show that I appreciated what they did the last time. It wasn't a point of, you know what, now I need to spend and need to show them that I also have money, but it was just a thankful gesture and thank you to them, and also just paying, not just paying them back, but giving back to them in that gesture. So, but I didn't feel that too about it, and I made sure to get myself up to a financial point that I can be self and do things that I need to do, and obviously the time makes you feel a way if you can't do things. So for men, doing things by themselves is a symbol of efficiency, power, and competence. In general, men are more interested in objects and things rather than people and feelings. Men rarely talk about their problems unless they are seeking expert advice. Asking for help when you can do something yourself is a sign of weakness. That's kind of like how men, we will try and our own, we will put on our own, and not worry about asking for help unless we feel it's something that it is bigger than us and it's a mountain too high to climb and we need professional help. That's kind of like the only time that we will consider, obviously looking for help. It's in the way we are built. There it is. It's not that we a certain level of not being comfortable and sharing our feelings, because that is something that is pushed a lot for us as men, to share our feelings, be in our feminine constantly. No, it is something that men do feel genuinely uncomfortable about, and we will only talk to someone, an expert, if we feel it's something that we can't manage and we know that we obviously need to go get professional help for. They say further, men are more aggressive than women, more combative and territorial. That's in our nature. Men's self-esteem is more career-related. Men feel devastated by failure and financial setbacks. They tend to obsess about money much more than women. I've been told you are just for money. You hear that from people that don't borrow money. So for me, I make sure to that we need to get up so that we can obviously be self-sufficient and do things that we need to do. Men hate ask for information because it shows they if you can identify 10 before GPS would going in that we options we try while you want to see and just you for that we got that out. Okay, covered men hate to ask for information because it shows they are a failure. So next up, they cover women, and they explain and they talk about women and elaborate a bit on women. Women value love, communication, and relationships. Sense of self-find through their feelings, quality relationships. Spend supporting, nurturing each other. they fulfill, share, person, feel important. Is sharing and relating is how a woman feels good about herself. For whom help weakness sign, it is a sign to about into physicalness, change can as the that is very, very important. What I was mentioning, the way you value woman, what men value when they look at women, they value from beauty at the easy corporate, basic measure, and had good edifying type experience, and she just being in a feminine, that is very that is what men do and look at women. But then when it comes to women at men, the attraction is not just the type of things that women look for, but the attractiveness is opposite, which is masculinity, which is assertiveness, which is confidence, and then when it comes to financial as well, when it comes to being a wife, being or that always thrown management moment when it comes to also it comes to high value men. So financially, and also the level of protection, the way you look physically, in the way you can, if you are in shape, it also speaks to you being able to stand up and protect your woman. So the things that attract men to women and women to men are different, and these change, these and and thinking we approach each other is basically setting for failure, and that's why you have a lot of strife in men and women, where in this meeting and type of we find ourselves, men are being taught to be more feminine and in their feelings, and women are being taught to be more masculine and go for what they want, be assertive, go for their careers, but it goes to a certain extent against their nature. And when it comes to men being more in touch with their feminine side and being in touch with their emotions, it also goes against how they make their makeup and how men they are hardwired. So it doesn't mean that it's all men and it doesn't mean that it's all women. Like I mentioned before, I'm speaking in general terms, but the majority, this is basically how it is. Look, we approach things, and this finally important and a good one, and I will actually just pop that through on a banner and just scroll it at the bottom. That's a very a very good point that I just want to let me just scroll it. Women are very concerned about relating to physical attractiveness. Changes in that area can be difficult um, for women as changes in a man's financial status. So that good one. When we occupied with work or money, women interpret it as rejection. So because men are focused on they focus things that is important, women interpret this as rejection because their nature wanting to connect and wanting to be caring. So that is just an eye opener. Like I said, if you're a guy or a girl watching this, or if you are in relationships or married, obviously understanding this and getting to know that this is just the way we are hardwired, and learning these things, and also being challenged about executing on these differences and not to preoccupied and show type of affection the other way. So that's definitely a lesson for me as well. And in the same way, doing to when it comes to dreams. So they go, they talk the men are more loyal, are more men have I think feeling the expression of in their prayer that was into react drawing or attempted to control the situation through its play of control and or power. It's again internal with the way we were also brought up, as I mentioned earlier, with other points developmentally and our input from our parents, that also conditions us as to roles. And if you have both mom and dad in your life, and you have a feminine mom and a masculine dad that leads the household, that is the best example for a child to grow up in having both support from both ends. Other than a single parent in a mom having to try and be the mom and the dad, or vice versa, the dad being in the home just trying to be the dad and the mom. So one is pain or devastation in few and so on. So that men also, because they are focused on the career and things, they value their time a lot, and the people that they spend time with in growing. As you grow older, I myself have discovered and learned this and grown into it, is that you tend to focus on the things that is important, because you know you only have a limited time on this earth, and you want to make sure that you utilize time effectively. So what you do is you focus thing, and you have to. It's a trade-off where you're going to spend time your career, working harder, upping skills, investing in, and, and maybe don't a lot of to foot. So both system at not there. I have a couple of friends that we are still connected for the last 20 to 30 years, that we are still friends with each other, and we still connect with each other, although we live in different cities or we don't see each other. When we do connect, it's like we've seen each other a week ago, and we can connect and have that type of emotional support. We tend not to try and talk about superficial things, but talk about things that matter and delve a bit deeper. So as we don't have that support system, it's difficult to connect. The two things that we want pick the one and based on see the we grow older, our wife and basically grow a family. We love idealistically. When it comes to the truths within the sphere that is shown out on a daily basis, when it comes to shows like the Fresh and Fit, shout out to the crew, shout out to Dot on his show when he does reaction videos as well. And as well, when you talk about Kevin Samuels, when it comes to shout out to him as well, with his show, when he has the conversations with women, they'll start off virtue signaling. A woman will start off virtue signaling that they want a specific type of man, and they are not superficial or shallow. They want someone that's rooted. Questions get more, it's down to matter. And just go for a guy that earns a certain amount of money. What is the threshold? You start to see that a lot of things that they want are the things that are very superficial and shallow indeed. And like I said, men have idealistically because of that picture they have in mind as they grow up. But women also then on the flip side, they love opportunistically because it's built into their DNA to go for the best mate. I mean, when it comes to from case, women needed to make sure that they are with a partner that can protect. So use alpha, the alpha that can protect, provide food, give the longest being for nothing in something that is being out and is now things that in. So men are with or is some take that just an example. In the majority of men, it comes to being approaching maybe basically if what you those not project sometimes if shooting and so that the feel to go anymore as to who does he think he is, blah blah blah. We've seen this on TikTok, we see YouTube. It is I mean you don't very far to see example of that. So they go to the next point. Women are in touch with a much wider range of feelings than men. Many of those feelings is usually greater for women than men. As a result of men that appear to change men irrational to if you've done it today, that tomorrow they feel they all lovey-dovey with it. Tomorrow there's like I don't feel for you. Is the fact that they are emotional beings, and not to say that they're emotional beings and to think lesser of them. For you guys that's going to get excited, but no, I'm just saying that because that is the way. Again, it goes back to how we were brought up, and also our internal wiring. And to be more functional in approaching problem solving, especially or in being found. Okay, women tend to be much more sensitive to sounds and smells than men are, and women as such tend to place a greater emphasis on atmosphere. So I mean, you've heard you have to create the ambience or create the atmosphere. As a guy, you have to create the vibe. We spoke. If you go back to the video with Dre the Genius in episode 2 stream, we spoke about you as a guy having to create a normal false or fake perspective, but you have to do the basics in your life to create this aura for a woman to be attracted to you. And when you approach her, she's not going to have any problem understand, and we are interested in wanting to know you. So that something that you run into a room, you have and you hold on that building your social skills, building on your physique, building on your dress sense, building on your financial sense. These are things that makes you confident. It doesn't make you, but it adds to you and makes you more confident, and that aura is gonna come through to women. Now, if you talk about you are taking a woman to your place and creating an ambience when it comes to getting the box, you know, you're gonna have to make sure you have a playlist already set up. You have a spot wine or red wine, white wine in your fridge or in your wine that you can pull out the glass and have it and so that you can obviously escalate things to the level. You have to create atmosphere, and you know as a guy, if you have make sure to have those points in place, you have the music playing softly, you have the lights down dim softly, your place is clean. You've got that champagne is bubbling, you creating that atmosphere that obviously adds to the woman feeling more comfortable, and you obviously opportunity to take things further, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. So, conflicts which arise due to the basic difference between men and women. So, um, other is where strife days conflict men have about women. Women are always trying to change them. Let me repeat. Women always try to change them. Why, why, why? There's a song from, what is it, Ladysmith Black Mambozo. Somebody, why, come on. Why do you want to change them? So, as a woman, I would suggest do not take a guy and come up with a mindset and, I'm going to change and help him and pursue his dream and become better. No, you are only setting yourself up for failure, because firstly you're gonna want to make, and no one is going to be to make. So don't take a guy that you in that way or try to do it long term. So don't guy what he is. That's why, as I'm saying earlier, guy is has the chance, creates that presence when he walks into, he creates that presence when he walks into any that order, and the thing that's not just because you have that order, but the other things in place, your physique, your finances, the way you are a level-headed guy when it comes to listening, being stoic about how you approach and listen to others, not to respond, but listening, not listening to respond, listening to comprehend. So have that. She's not going to change you because she already is attracted for what you are on the plateau. So if you have that right, a woman is not going to come up and approach you to want to change you. If there is one that does come with, she's obviously the right, because you know project, and you should not never be a project for a woman to work on and feel like, no, she out of being. There's a approach as a man. So most frequent women, men don't use these as it's told. What are these? What are these? So I think if I go back to the one point that they said that, I actually think this ties back perfectly. Where did I interest object territorial? Yeah, preoccupied work or mind interpret as a rejection. So that is where that where that differences comes when it comes to let me go. Here we go. Men don't listen. I think that's where the men don't listen thing. Men don't listen comes from, because women feel rejected when men are focused on the things, their purpose, and the things that they need to push on, that they are wires to think that they focus on. So sometimes you take a step back and listen to what she has to say. I again will profess it's something I'm also working on, and I need to be able to hone in on that skill. Let me put it that way. So yeah, women want empathy, yet many illusions. Sometimes I would have you to you this woman's and my boss and what you and what, and she doesn't want us to. That's the way we as men know why we are to give us of the problem. Okay, you are wrong. This is what needs to happen, and this is the solution. But most of the time, it's not the solution that they are looking for. They are looking for that time that you have given. You have listened to what they were, that what bothers them, and then they're not solution to listen to them and be felt or feel heard. When a woman changes correct at many years, they are told they are not competent or don't know how to do something, or that they can't do something. If they can do something, they always want to do something and do it on their own and achieve it on their own and be successful in achieving it on their own. But when women try to change or improve or correct, give it men advice, that is the way they interpret it. Men hear that they are being told that they are not, that is something that men pride themselves on, not know how to do something. Level, and something that is again believe they will achieve it and complete something. It goes on. Men often feel responsible or to blame for women's problems, always wanting that trying to save everyone, can save what. So something that comes from really important. Men let me just go to that. Men is responsible to blame for women's problems, and mentioned heading as conflicts rise due to the basic difference between men and women. Definitely, conflict here is the fact that men want to solve women's problems. Most of the time, the girl doesn't want you to jump in and save her. You need to let go of that as a man. Do not want to be saved, and you need to let go of that white knighting type of programming that you've been brought up and also been watching in movies, watching in the justification of romantic relationships, always believing that you need to be the prince and she's the damsel in distress, and whatever the case may be. You need to stop, and because it's something that women off, because it shows to women also that you now wanting to take over and you want to solve all the problems for women want space, and doing these type of things is something that smothers them, and where they feel they don't have the space to be able to grow and do things on their own. Men always assume women want solutions to problems. That is the best way to be helpful and to show love. Women often just want someone to sincerely listen to them. Like I mentioned earlier, housework. Men avoid it, try to get others to do it, or feel demeaned doing it. For women, cleanliness is a benefit of hominess. Men and women have different thresholds for cleanliness and dirt. That is sometimes, you have certain people that is just a certain way they deal and the way their house is. You have a couple, both of them are very cleanly. You have another one that is just, things are just a bit chaotic. But when it's work, I'm so sure that things make cook and barbecue, doing all this, that's and to let women put that as just for you. You also certain people to put and focus on as a man, and certain things as a woman that obviously, like they said, to a woman, cleanliness of a house is a manifestation of a home nest. So women love to nest. Men often change a woman's mood when she is upset by offering solutions to her problems, which she interprets as discounting and invalidating her feelings. So if something important, don't try to make her happy. If you yourself are not feeling it, or there is you are not agreeing and you need to cool off, then go take off a cooler period and then come back so that you can talk with a cool level head. But no, don't always just try to take away the awkwardness. Sometimes the awkwardness, if you have that awkwardness, you need to be learn to be comfortable with that awkwardness in a relationship, because that is where you also come into your own and learn to grow, and not wanting to just jump to conclusion and trying to change the mood or make her happy, or kind of like, just, you know what, she's upset, oh, let me try this. No, you just need to interpret, interpret what is going on, and if she's not feeling you, then don't force it. Like I said, cool, go out, go do something, take your mind off it, and come back so you can be cool, level-headed, and be able to chat and this. So women try to change men's behavior by offering unsolicited advice and becoming a home improvement committee. Maybe the women try to change men's behavior by offering unsolicited advice and becoming a movement with get and feel being touch with them, and react in shutting down. So we go further. Again, let me have a look. I'm looking at, let me look. I'm looking at the live stream. I see one of you in there. Again, I will invite you to drop a comment. Let me know what you think of the stream. Also, I want you to like if you don't mind, and subscribe to the channel, and and check out the videos that's sitting on the channel currently. I've swapped over to this live stream format, and pushing and challenging myself to become better in presenting ideas and talking through topics on the live stream format. So let me just pop on the subject again, just for reference sake. There we go. I'll put it there. So let's move on to the next. How to move with these differences. How to work with these differences. How to move. I think I'm getting tired. How to work with these differences. So, like I mentioned earlier, if you are a guy that's in a relationship, or at least if you're a guy that's single or girl that's single, understand and go to this page, go check out these differences, take your time to read through it, and you will start to see the patterns in how you can identify certain behavior and certain behavior patterns and the way you think. You will start seeing yourself in some of these things. And you as a single person, or you in a relationship, will definitely benefit you in being able to use this knowledge to better understand your partner, or better understand the opposite sex, and also yourself, so that you can be able to implement these type of this knowledge of the opposite sex, so that you can get a better result in the way you communicate socially, and just be able to read certain cues based on this information to basically get the best result in whatever you're trying to achieve, in whatever point you're trying to make across, in understanding the other person and also yourself. So with this point number 6, it's how to work with these differences. So now they're going to go into more of a practical sense in how you can incorporate and work with these differences. So the human ops, it is not the solutions. They may be appropriate at a future time when she's calmed down. Again, you are to jump in and give a solution, don't do it. Listen, get and try to understand where she's coming from, what she's trying to say, and and listen intently. And then when she asks for the solution later on, or feels comfortable to ask it, and she does, then go in with what you can formulate and what you believe it should be something that she maybe have missed, or something, another viewpoint, or something that she can just try, and as a solution. A man appreciates advice and criticism when it is requested. Ah, exactly, when it's requested. Men want to make improvement, feel being approached as a solution to a problem rather than as the problem itself. Yeah. For men, it's definitely the way you approach, because we as men, the way we talk to each other, and when it comes to men, when we talk to each other, there's always that low threat of violence. And the reason is, it's mentioned earlier, it's in our nature. Men are aggressive, and the way we talk aggressive, assertive, and sometimes we will butt heads, and we'll have we'll contest on a topic, whatever the case may be. And then if we are butting heads too intensely, we might get to a point where it might come to blows. So men know about this low level threat that we pose to each other as men, and we basically simmer down, and we will not go and give another man solicited advice if it's not called for. And a case in point, an example. That's a perfect example. If we're in the gym, if you're in the gym doing your thing, and you have been in the gym, you've gone through some fitness training, you've watched the fitness guys, know what type of exercises to do, what equipment to use, how to use it, how many sets to the reps, and all these things. You see someone else that's maybe inexperienced, and it's another guy, don't feel free to walk over when you look at their form and you see that it's incorrect, and you see that the form is wrong and they're doing something incorrect. Don't think walking over to them and telling them, you know what, the way you're doing this is wrong, you need to do it this way. He's going to be open to listening to you and actually going to do it. No. You need to get to know, greet the guy, get to know the guy. So you get to see you exercise. Yeah, do that. What do you do? Now, you build a relationship, you build friendship, and once you have a certain comfort and build level of build rapport, then you can feel free to be able to come across and give them advice, maybe, because now you've built that foundation. But you come to blue, walk up to someone just with this, hey, I see your form is incorrect, I think you need to do this, and the last time, no. I myself, I will smack you and tell you to get out my face, because you're irritating. And this point basically clearly describes that men want to make improvements when they feel they are being approached as a solution to a problem, rather than as the problem itself. So again, they also say men have great needs for status and independence, emphasis on separate and different. Women have needs for intimacy and connection, emphasis on close and the same. Women need to receive caring, understanding, respect, devotion, validation, and reassurance. Women are motivated when they feel special or cherished. Men need to receive trust, acceptance, appreciation, admiration, approval, and encouragement. So if you if you are single, learn these things. If you're a guy in a relationship, these things are clear, where it says women need to receive caring, understanding, respect, devotion, validation, and reassurance. I am a proponent of caring, yes, understanding to a certain extent, if she's being reasonable and not just disingenuous. When it comes to respect, when it is earned, and not just because she's a female, because you have people that might be on a level of just being completely disrespectful and think that they are entitled to respect. No. Devotion, if she's earned it, and you have seen that she's proven herself and you have vetted enough to know that she is worth investment. Validation, when it comes to validating her and giving her attention sparingly, and also you taper at validation, and reassurance. Yes, you reassure that you are there, and if you the LTR long term route, you can assure obviously if you're gonna go exclusive. But if not, reassurance is something that can be done sparingly as well, because if you're going to see her and only date with her, she needs to know that she has competition, and before what's it called, anxiety. There needs to be certain anxiety and receiving is on condition that she's yours. Yes, and not just because she's a woman, but because she has earned it, and not that she's entitled to it and is disrespectful. That is something you need to check. Devotion is something where you vet her and she's proven herself. Validation is what you give to a certain extent on a, I would say, on a sparing basis, not to over validate. And then reassurance is also that's also unsparingly, because she also needs to have a certain level of anxiety to know that you are a catch. She needs to know that, and that's the reason she is with you. Men need to receive trust, accept trust, yes, yes, appreciation, yeah, admiration, approval, and encouragement. Those are the things. If you as a woman are doing these things, you're going to basically melt your husband, your boyfriend, his heart, because they will always feel like the man. Not that you're doing it out of just doing it for the sake of making him feel good about himself and just fooling him. No, you genuinely giving him acceptance and always validate, not always validating, but showing appreciation for the things that he does, when it comes to providing there for the family or in the relationship, approval of doing of, and just encouraging and complimenting, and just being there to say, you know what, I appreciate what you do. Men are motivated when they feel needed. Yes, a man's deepest fear is that he is not good enough or not competent enough, though he may never express this. But again, in our nature, we will not come out and just blurt out our feelings. Men talking about their feelings, it depends on the social group. And like I mentioned earlier, if you will obviously communicate with your partner, but most of the time, as a man, you will hold things to yourself, and you will not have emotional outbursts and crying outbursts in front of your woman, because you know that she will look at you in a certain way. She will accept it once, maybe, but if you constantly cry in front of her, it's going to drop. Attractiveness is going to drop. Of our, and will drop. You attract the level of attention that she feels for you will drop, and she might start considering other options. So we as a man, we know this, and some men that do not know this and fall for the social type of engineering as to being in our feelings constantly and crying and all these things, you are going to lose. And if you're a man that's doing that, just understand it's in our nature to be stoic as men. Women don't like this because they feel that reassurance. And if you having talking things and what you're going through, I can't do this and I'm so scared of this, you are basically you are not being staying in your masculine, and being with a certain level of that us men can, because we were brought up a certain, we are aggressive, hard from so early. They were given directly. So those to more strong, a better man. He's a society. So that man that you have, though we may express this, that is the way we are, and we are not going to change. We're not going to change. If you are changing, you're going to change, and you're going to do that. You're going to keep on finding yourself being thrown into the friend zone, because a woman wants a strong masculine man, not a macho man that is a fake, that wants to be fake and basically just show, oh, I'm that dude or whatever. A guy that is well grounded, that is focused on his purpose and constantly learning in bettering himself, working on understanding opposite sex better and reading more, pushing towards his bag and pushing towards his fitness. You have those things, you will be a unstoppable, my friends, when it comes to being in today's dating market. As a man, you will be confident, and like I said earlier, you will not operate within the scarce mindset that a lot of men find. You will operate in the mindset. Why? Because you have options. Why? Because you feel good. Why? Because you have a certain level of success when it comes to your career. You are pushing your money and always looking to better, to earn more, to up your investments, and to get out there and be in a better financial footing. You are pushing your dress sense, always making sure you're looking good, you're feeling confident, and always learning, pushing yourself to learn and better yourself. You do all those things as a man in 2021, as 2022, you are going to become unstoppable, and you're going to definitely stand out compared to the rest of the guys that is in their feelings, don't know how to dress. You got all these different colors that they are wearing. There's nothing wrong with looking funky, looking cool. But I have a friend, we this guy something. When you look at fashions today, some of them definitely cross that line. So if you've got those purpose, pushing your sense, your being style, always pushing to learn, always pushing to grow, always trying to network and grow with others. If you're that type of guy, and you become that type of guy, and you are this social magnet, when you walk into a room, people want to talk to you because you bring that aura. You're going to be head and shoulders above everyone else, whether, no matter how tall you are, if you're over 6 foot or not, that is not going to matter. You bring with you back to the table, and you're on another level. To some article 0.7, there are just significant differences between men and women. The differences are different, not better or worse. That is a good one. That is a good one. The differences are the differences are different, not better or worse. Do not judge the differences. Do not try to change the differences, and do not try to make them go away. So again, that is such a beautifully summarized point. It does not mean when men are putting down their preferences in 2021 and in the market today, where men are voicing their preferences and women are wanting to shame them, and it's a whole battle and it's a whole back and forth, and women are this way and modern women this and modern women that, a man that, and blah blah blah. The bottom line is it is about accepting the differences, and we have been created as men and as like I said, not better than women and men is good. Our way, certain things we are drawn to because opposite purpose attract, and the differences is not about being different, and it's not about being better than the other. So the differences are not different, nor is it better or worse. Do not judge the differences. Do not try to change the differences, and do not try to make them go away. Because a lot of men in 2021, there's a lot of a big push when it comes to men, as hetero men, having to accept a lot of things into their society. And as a hetero man myself, there's certain things that I accept and certain things I do not accept. And we know as hetero men, there's certain things that we can't talk about and we can't voice, because otherwise we will be cancelled, because that is the way we are today. So I'm just scrolling at the bottom this summarized line, because it perfectly puts everything together. That the different, I'm going to read this again. The differences are different, not better or worse. Do not judge the differences, do not try to change the differences, and do not try to make them go away. That is powerful. I've put that in the scroll box and across the screen. You read this and you can basically, it is such a powerful point in teaching us that those differences make us different. We've been created different for a reason. And if we accept those differences and we work along with it, we're going to be much more people. So for career, realize I'm highly known and the things you have performed, things that you did not in or worry about, and unfortunately you were waking up about what you want and what is important too late. Sometimes for men as well, you push for the bag too hard and you do not learn how to learn and be social and work on your social skills to interact with women. So when you get to 30 to 40 and you are 30, or in your 30s, early 30s or late 20s, and you so focus on just making money and focusing on your person, so being able to communicate with women, and then you find yourself just going for the easy route and finding sites. So you have to spend it and you start tricking. That is not the way to go. You have to balance it out. Your purpose. That is you system that take that learn to make sure also opening. You can obviously be able. They're gonna these differences. We all have some of these qualities. To get along, you must accept, expect, and respect these differences. Be sure to remember these differences when communicating about anything important, when expressing care and concern, and when solving conflicts. So there you have it. There you have it. I'm going to go scroll back to the top of it. And the most important thought of it, I basically just popped into the tab at the bottom, which is scrolling across in the banner, and it talks about the differences are not different, not better or worse. Do not judge the differences. Do not try to change the differences. Do not try to make them go away. So I think that's a good point to close off and end things on. When it comes to this article, it was very informative. I came across it when doing some research in wanting to explore and getting some literature and just getting a well thought out presented article like this that is holistic and in detail the way it is set out. And it also, like I mentioned, it comes from this Relationship Institute. They Royal Oak, Northville, Ann Harbor, and I checked and I think I saw Michigan or something like that. Yeah, I enjoyed that, and I thought it would be a good topic to discuss when it comes to the differences in just touching on on between men and women. That's probably a topic that I'm going to cover in a year's time again, because these are the topics that we constantly have to circulate, because sometimes we get into we have discussions in the manosphere, and at such an advanced level, a lot of the people that's coming across the red pole, coming across the content when it comes to the manners, they don't understand some things, and then they start getting bamboozled by some of these I don't know, this, I would call them the new poles on the block. The new poles on the block that comes and try to basically go against everything that the red pole, and basically still believe the fallacy that the red pole is a mindset and a it is not mind. It is the thing that and an example of this, and as you need to understand that we as men, we love idealistically, men, women love opportunistically. It's why DNA, they always make sure they look for better deal. We know that you always, you need to understand that it comes to girlfriend or have a wife, you work, make you do your, and you are that man that is on your family, and you are in work from understand it happen from you looked at something and you fulfill need that something or some level of boredom. It is what it is. You need to understand not to take it personal, not to be buttered, and not to put it in a scarcity mindset in running after someone. You need to have the abundance, work on your base, purpose, fitness, social skills, dress sense, and just making sure you're the complete package, so that you know when things go sideways, that you don't take it personal. You have an abundance mindset, and you know you can obviously you can get someone else again if you are if your girlfriend breaks up with you, whatever. These are the truths that we understand in the red pole. These are the things that we know. We always men are the ones that always the ones that. But when it comes to cheating, it is normally 50% of where it is 50-50 that men and women cheat, so it's equal. I'm going to do this in to 6 when across the world, my country, especially South Africa, things, and to tie things back to this article, is that in our country we have the divorce rate is sitting at 54% in our country, and of the 54%, 80% of those marriages, 80%, 80%, the reason for the divorces in South Africa. So statistic, 44% is the percentage of the divorce rate in South Africa. 80% of that 44%, the reason for the marriage being dissolved is not cheating, not men being being dogs or whatever, and the basic tropes that is always perpetuated, but it is communication. Yes, communication is the number one thing in South Africa that is dissolving or having marriages ended, and 80% is to communicate, and I mean that's the majority. So going back to this article, where we go through the differences between men and women, how we are our developmental stages happen, how we are brought up in the household with our moms and dads, how we brought up as kids, both our friends, values, certain things in our life, how we grow up in adults, and and things that we value as men and women, and how we relate and communicate with each other. This article helps us a lot, and articles such as this as well. I would say go do some more research, go do some more in-depth type of analysis. I myself am going to do it, and I'll be explore this a bit further down the road in having a different perspective when it comes to this type of differences between men and women. More this general of women, good teaching how the way we do practice things, they understand it, know have that type of get out the one debate. I think important comes to when it comes to so that was that differences between women. For me, it was a great, or at least a good discussion for me to just be able to talk to you guys about this. And finding this article was definitely help to just organize my thoughts. And I thought it was good to just go through it in having this discussion. And I hope and believe that you guys enjoyed it. You got the value out of it. And for the one person that is sitting there in the comments, or at least watching the live stream, I hope you're enjoying it. And basically giving me some feedback down the road. Thank you for coming in. Yeah. So let me just give that previous idea. I just wanted to show that previous idea again, which was, let me just have it come up on the screen. There we go. Women are very concerned about issues relating to physical attractiveness. Changes in the area can be as difficult for women as changes in a man's financial status. Those are definitely the two thoughts that I'm going to be putting down in the description for this video, because I think this summarizes and puts encapsulates exactly this article and summarizes it beautifully. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop a comment in and go check out the other content on this channel. Tell me what you guys think, and drop a comment into this live stream. Let me know the things that was interesting to you, and on what other type of content and ideas do you want me to go through and get my point of view on. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah. And I'm out.